It's the match preview, and today we're going to be talking about Luton Town's trip to Bramall Lane. And with me today to, I guess, optimistically look ahead to this one, it's my co-host, Mark Ryman. How are you getting on this evening, Mark?
I'm good. I'm excited to go to the game. I mean, I'm excited for the whole game. Maybe not the bit between minute 1 and minute 90, but I'm definitely excited to be doing an away day. Sheffield United is always great fun. Bramall Lane's great atmosphere as well. So that'll be good. As for the football, we'll see.
Yeah, you know what? I'm quite optimistic about this. I know I'm always optimistic ahead of a game, but today I'm feeling like this is the one, you know, this is the game where we turn it around. I feel we're going to have a good performance. We'll talk about it a bit, like who's missing, who's not missing. But before we do that, if you're watching this on our YouTube, like the video, it takes a second. And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to our channel, what are you doing? Subscribe for even more Luton Town content. But let's jump straight in and talk about what's sort of going on at Luton Town and also preview this match. So, you know, I feel it was quite therapeutic with the post-match phone in. We sort of got our thoughts out, and I was initially very angry recording my post-match reaction after the Oxford game, but I must say I calmed down 24 hours later for the phone in. Where are you at now?
Yeah, it's therapy, the phone in for me. I like to thank everybody for being part of my weekly therapy session, which is the post-match phone in at the moment. Yeah, I'm the same as you. You try and look at these things from a bit of a distance, you know, and on the positive side of things, as we've always said, we've got a really good squad. You know, we've got a good squad full of players that can do great things in this league. I think the problem is that I felt like this almost after the Plymouth game and the turnaround for Oxford, and think, right, come on, we'll start strong, we'll start on the front foot. But it doesn't take long if we start making similar mistakes for all of that optimism to fall. And I feel like that's probably shared a bit with the players, right? They came out against Oxford really positively, actually, I thought. Anyway, front-footed. Krause was all over the place. Loved his performance, I must say that, on Tuesday, particularly in the first 30 minutes or so. But the moment they came up, you know, and at us and put dangerous balls in behind, you could see it in the players as well. It starts to ebb away. So yeah, I'm certainly a bit more balanced. Unless I was just a bit miserable. I was a bit sad about the whole situation on Tuesday. You probably could tell, but on Wednesday on the phone in rather. But yeah, I'm feeling a bit more balanced. But it will all see how it plays out on the pitch, I guess, on Saturday.
Yeah, well, this is a team that we've played quite frequently. In fact, our last 6 matches are very even. 2 wins for the Blades, 2 wins for Luton, and 2 draws. And I feel this is sort of a game against... I would say this is a game where we come in as the underdog. And in a way, we haven't been the underdog, have we, since the opening game against Burnley? And even then, I think a lot of people were fancying us, and Burnley obviously had like an absolute stacked squad that's very different now. So it could be very different. And there's also the fact that Sheffield United are, you know, ironically called the Blades, but they're quite blunt in front of goal, been relying on Gus Hamer to like sort of pull them through games with like worldy free kicks. And yesterday they benefited from an own goal as the only goal in the game. And with the embarrassment of riches that they have, they should really be, you know, obviously they're doing very well this season, but they should be scoring 3s, 4s. They should be battering teams.
Yeah, it could be clicking more. You took the words out of my mouth, actually, about the positives. I was thinking exactly the same earlier today, right? What can I be positive about? What's going to keep me uplifted about this game? And it is that, you're right, the underdog tag will be there, guaranteed. And yes, Burnley was probably that as well. But as you say, it's at home. It's the first game of the season. Both relegated, and Luton finished above Burnley in the league. As Luton fans, we saw us as the underdogs in that game. But I don't know whether all the neutrals necessarily did. So, yeah, that helps. And we've done all right at Bramall Lane in the last couple of visits. I don't want to talk about the last game we played them for obvious reasons, really. But Boxing Day, obviously last season was good. We got a bit lucky, to be honest, to win it 3-2. I think in the end it was... but
you're saying two fortuitous own goals are lucky?
That second
what are
one
you
was
talking
mad.
about?
That second one was absolutely mad, wasn't it? But I
both of them were.
It. Yeah,
both own goals were mad.
They were, of course, and even the Doughty one in the first half that went in the near post somehow. You wonder. I think the Luton fans didn't even realise it had gone in on that one either, right? It took
they're on
delay.
the far corner.
Yeah. It's the only time I've not been Sheffield United for a few years. It's a nice trip for me, but Boxing Day couldn't make it. But yeah, I mean, we do have a reasonable record there. We know that we're going in as underdogs, and maybe a bit like going down to 10 men. That will force a structure, which is what's been sorely missing at the back. So I share your optimism there. I also agree that United haven't made the most of what they've got in terms of their talent. I mean, I would put the one worry on this, which is their strongest element of their side for me is their midfield. And that is also where we are most vulnerable. Not necessarily in terms of squad, but, the way the system shapes up. I think it's too easy to play through the midfield. We all agree with that. And they've got the players that can really hurt us there with Callum O'Hare and Gus Hamer.
Yeah, this is a game where we've been beating the drum about it. We have to play three in midfield because, as you say, they have players in midfield that will hurt us. And midfield is where this game will be lost or won, essentially. And it's whoever wins that midfield battle. And I am terrified about Hamer because I maintain that if Hamer hadn't gone off for Coventry, he probably would have pulled Coventry through to a win because Coventry were the team in the ascendancy in the second half and that day at Wembley. And he's levels above the Championship. He's just so good.
Yeah. He was starting to pull the strings. I mean, it's fair to say they still had Gyökeres on the pitch at the time,
Oh, Burke had him in his pocket.
But what a job that he did on him, considering he didn't really start the match. But yeah, but you're right. Gus Hamer is one hell of a player, and he makes things tick for Sheffield United, but can also score from anywhere. And if we start leaving players free around 25 yards and don't close them down, as we have been doing. I mean, I don't need to tell you this. This is what everyone's thinking, isn't it, on the way to the game? That's scary. I would say we managed to handle it against Plymouth. The one player we did handle quite well was probably Morgan Whittaker, and he is that player as well, at the detriment maybe to others coming in, but we did handle him well. I think we're going to have to do a job keeping him quiet. They've got some other good players as well. I mean, Sousa was, I wouldn't mention the home game, but Sousa was excellent for them, wasn't he, in that Premier League game when we lost at Kenilworth Road as well. So he provides a threat too. We're going to need structure. We're going to need discipline to get anything from the game.
Yeah, and interestingly, they haven't conceded a goal in their last how many games? They definitely haven't conceded a goal in their last 5. So for a team like Luton who are struggling in terms of scoring at the moment, why do you think that Elijah Adebayo is going to bag a hat-trick?
Oh my God. It would be amazing. I would so love it for him. Yeah. It's going to be a struggle, isn't it? I mean, we've made some. We've got into the right areas quite a lot of time. We've just not pulled the trigger enough. One of the things we need to do is learn from Victor Moses against Plymouth, and hopefully he's playing further up the pitch on Saturday, and pull the trigger a bit earlier. Have some confidence in shots. I was pleased to see Clark have a couple of goals before he scored as well. that is, we need to be less hesitant in front of goal, because we are not going to get the same amount of chances that we have been given against Plymouth and Oxford. We only got 1 point from those 2 games combined. Elijah, I think, unless Morris is back fit, is going to be nailed on to start, probably with Brown again, you would imagine. I'd hope so. I mean, I really hope he doesn't decide to play him on his own because we're playing away from home. That for me would be the biggest worry that I've got, because that would basically blunt any option we have going forward. Be braver taking shots on, because they're all capable of sticking it in top bins from 25 yards, those players that we've got up front. They really are.
Yeah, so essentially they're going to be playing 5 in midfield, I would say. Like, their width definitely comes from their full backs. You got Harrison Burrows on one side, Jamie Shackleton on the other side, and then in the middle, yes, you have Peck and D'Souza, but you also have Hamer, O'Hare, and Brooks, like, sort of keeping it congested. Maybe Brooks will stretch the play, and then up top you've obviously got the aerial threat of Kiefer Moore, who, he's a very good striker at this level. Surprisingly, it just hasn't really clicked for him, like, so far. And if it's not Kiefer Moore, it'll be Tyrese Campbell, who's a real handful as well, and a player who was on a free, and one that we really should have considered getting, but there's no point in recriminating about that, because that's the summer. We got to keep looking forward. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And also, I mean, Tyrese Campbell looked great for against us quite a few times for Stoke when he's played for them. I would rather see Kiefer Moore up there. I think McGuinness needs... I still think McGuinness has some stuff to prove. It's not his fault that he went for as much money as he did for us. But for me, he's not convinced me completely defensively. I think aerially he tends to be pretty good at the back, but I think I find his positioning sometimes concerning, and his lack of ability to come out and block shots. So I'd rather him face Kiefer Moore, even though Kiefer Moore is huge, but I would rather him face him than have the pace of Tyrese Campbell running at him. Definitely.
Yeah, but to mitigate the point on Mark McGuinness, and by the way, congrats to McGuinness for getting called up to the full Ireland squad, which is remarkable. It's great. I love having internationals. Well, actually, they tend to go away, get injured, come back, and then we miss them for the season. Like
Nakamba's banned. He's banned now from going away.
Yeah. So I genuinely think, like, McGuinness hasn't had the rub of the green, because defensively we just have been shambolic. There hasn't been that protection in front of the back three as it is, and then they get stretched, and the wing backs don't come back and help out. Like Doughty, you want him further up the pitch, but there's no secret that Doughty isn't as good going back as he is going forward. Like, he tries, he's great with recoveries. He's always willing to put a tackle in. But the thing is, like, when you're fully accelerating that way and you get dispossessed, like we saw against Sheffield Wednesday, it's very hard just to, turn around and whiz back that way. And then when you're playing a 3 at the back, people get pulled out of position. Like, does Mengi go? Does Mengi go tight? If Nakamba's there, does Nakamba get tight? That, it's about that communication at the back. And then when the ball comes in, everyone's just deep ball watching, saying like, "Oh, here we go." Where's it's like when you're at school and did you ever play that game where you hit the ball at your mates where they're standing at the wall?
Yeah.
So it's it's like that. Yeah. Like, everyone's just standing there waiting for the ball to get smacked at them so they can, anticipate where to block or swerve or move to. It's like that. Everyone's just sort of waiting for the shot to come in so they can react.
Yeah. No, I get exactly what you're saying, and he's new, and I think he will bed in. I would say if it was a back 4, though, I would pick Mengi and Burke over McGuinness all day at the moment in terms of their
We're not
all-round
going to a
ability
back
going forward
four.
as well. I know we're not. I've fully accepted that there's no point in even wishing for it. But that's all I'm saying with that. I think that he will improve. By the way, I do think he will improve. But at the moment, I still think that there's a few holes in his game. But like you said, that is something we could level at nearly every player on the pitch, particularly in the midfield as well. So yeah, no arguments there.
Yeah, we're going to have to play two up top, because when I was going through their entire team, I didn't even mention their centre-back pairing. Ahmed Hodgsic, I've been practicing his name.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not the last
Suter.
time you said it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Suter's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, so they got Hedgehog and Suter, and between them at this level, they are ridiculous. Harry Suter, another one from Stoke. I don't think we've ever beaten a Stoke side that had Harry Suter in it, because he's just a titan at the back. He's one I would have loved to have seen at Luton Town. He's one that I thought, when we signed Mark McGuinness, I thought we were getting like a Harry Suter type. Yeah, obviously there's still time, but Harry Suter, what a player. And we are going to need two players. And you know who this would be absolutely perfect for? Joe Taylor. Because if they're pushing up, they haven't got the pace for Joe Taylor slipping in behind. So you need those balls through the lines. And this is the game where if we're going to play tippy-tappy, if Rob is going to persist with this philosophy, we have to beat that press. We have to get through that midfield, because as I said, there are going to be 5 bodies in midfield. So it's very important that we slip through those lines. And then once we slip through those lines, we're going to have to slip Joe Taylor in.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I don't know whether he starts. For me, I think Brown would start, but he needs to certainly at least be the first choice replacement if he's not starting. I mean, Corley Woodrow had some great moments for us, but he's not been anywhere near as prolific as he should be, or he would put pressure on himself to be as well. He's not got the pace that you've just mentioned either. I can see those two easily dealing with him. Brown I like for the press, although as you said, we're away from home, it might be a different game. And I think that Taylor needs a decent shot, and if it's not, let's be honest, if it's not Saturday, then I don't see where else it's going to be, and we're just holding on to him until January at that point. If we're not going to use him against a team that is going to be putting pressure on us, when are we using him? Because that is clearly the type of player he is, running behind. Yeah, exactly what you said about their defence. I mean, they've been absolutely solid. You said they've not scored so many goals, and you're right. But, Chris Wilder can set up a team defensively, and has done. He's, to be fair, look, both of us have a similar opinion on Chris Wilder, but one thing he's done is taken a team that conceding goals for fun in the Premier League, and got them tight at the back. And as we can see with our eyes at Luton, that is not easy to do. So fair play to him. I think he will relish this game as well as a manager. I think he will absolutely relish getting one over on us too. So yeah, it's going to be tough to break them down.
He was very seriously in the reckoning for the next manager position at Luton before we signed Rob Edwards. He was very seriously in consideration. This season, they've won 5, drawn 3, and they've scored 10 times, 10 goals, conceded 3. So as you can see, that's the fewest goals conceded. And this is really a tough old game that we're going up against now. And this, if Rob believes in his philosophy, you got to go hell for leather in this. You need to really, if the players can't get up, because we've said many times, you hit the nail on the head when you said the players look like they're in pre-season. If the players cannot get up for this game against one of the promotion favourites, then I don't know what is going on with them. And I know I said in my post-match, fingers have to be pointed at Rob Edwards. They genuinely need to be, because he is the one that motivates. He's the one that brings the tactics. He's the one that gives the care to the players. Essentially, he's there to be a manager, not their mate. And he needs to be putting rockets straight up their arses to get them up for this game.
Yeah, and like you said, if they can't get out for this game, that's a concern. I mean, yeah, this game and then the one coming after it, after the international break, will be the big key, won't it?
And then the next 3 after that one.
Well, in terms of difficulty, yeah, just in terms of getting up for games. I mean, obviously we've got the local derby coming up. I think that we need to see some structure and we need to see some fight. And when I say fight, I don't mean like Walsh. But it's not just fight going forward. It's also the same fight to be able to dig in a game when things are going against you, because it happens. It'll happen again in games. Teams will have the upper hand for periods of all games, but at the moment when that happens, it feels like they could score 3 or 4 goals. Like they just run straight through us. And even if they don't, those miraculous saves from Kaminsky on Tuesday. I mean, how Oxford didn't score, and they probably should have had a penalty as well. We didn't even mention that.
And Mengi on the line as well.
Mengi on the line once at least, maybe twice. I can't remember. Yeah, but exactly what I mean. How many times has Kaminsky got us out of jail? But this is what I mean. That's the fight that I'm looking for. When a team's got the ball and they're running at our midfield, that's where we want to see that fight, isn't it? We want to dig into games. It'll mean that some of the game's going to be ugly and it's not going to be the beautiful football that Rob necessarily wants to see. But that is how you win games at this level as well. You have to have that too, that element of your play. So yeah, I mean that's what I want to see. I was really pleased with Mengi's performance because for me he's underperformed quite a lot this season. So it was good to see that, and that gives me some hope coming into this game. It was also great to see him on the pitch in the first place, right? I for one didn't really expect to see him after him limping off with his knee. I was really concerned about that at Plymouth. So that's great. And hopefully, as you say, that third man in midfield, hopefully Krause isn't serious as well, because I think him and Nakamba worked really well, although he played slightly further forward, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did indeed. Well, let's hope we see Krause start up again in this game. It has to be. But I think we should wrap this up. And what was your score prediction then for this one?
Well, I've gone for a loss on this one, only based on evidence. Look, I want us to win. I really do. I want to see things change. But, my score predictions, I try and look at it as a neutral would look at it. You look at the last 3 or 4 games for both teams, and no one looking at those games would predict Luton to win that game, really, if we're looking at the evidence. I've gone Sheffield United to win 2-0, and I think we're going to struggle to score, and I can't see us keeping them out. That's my worry. I really hope I'm wrong. And after a couple of beers before the game, I'll be very optimistic, I'm sure. So let's hope we start our run now.
So I've gone the opposite. I've gone 1-0 Luton. I feel it's going to be a good defensive performance. I am optimistic about this. I feel it's going to click today. But you know what? Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are about this game. Who's going to win? Who do you want to see start? Let us know. And most importantly, like this video and subscribe to our channel for even more Luton Town content. We hope to see you all at Bramall Lane. Most importantly, come on you Hatters.